Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'd. So in this episode of Abandoned Sunnahs, inshallah, we're going to be dealing with the statement of the mu'adhan telling and informing the people to pray in their homes. Now this is done as part of the adhan in the times of extreme weather. Whether it's raining a lot, if you have like a huge downpour and it's very difficult for the people to get to the masjid, or it could be danger for the people to get to the masjid, or any other type of extreme weather. It could be a tornado, it could be during a hurricane, it could be extreme cold that could cause the people difficulty, especially if there's ice on the ground, which could be a danger for the people. It could be during a lightning storm, when there's a heavy lightning, like here in Florida. We have this a lot, where there's just major lightning, and it becomes a danger even to come out of the house to inform the people to pray in their homes. Because, I mean, we've even seen this ourselves when we first came back to America. Me and the kids, we were going to Jum'ah with a brother, Mujahid, and he was driving, and the lightning is struck like within like maybe 10-15 feet from his car. It struck on the median, you know, like we're just going and just whoop, boom, and you just see, you know, dirt flying up. So this does happen, and it's very, and it could be a danger to people. So you inform the people that, you know, to pray in your homes. And we're going to get to this and what the mu'adhan should say, inshallah, in the number in the hadith. The number of the hadith is 632 in Sahih Bukhari and Kitab al-Salat and Kitab al-Adhan, sorry. And it says, حدثنا مسدد قال أخبرنا يحيى عن عبيد الله بن عمر قال حدثني نافع قال أذن ابن عمر في ليلة باردة بضجنان ثم قال صلوا في رحالكم فأخبرنا أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم كان يأمر مؤذنا يؤذن ثم يقول على إثره ألا صلوا في الرحال في ليلة الباردة أو المطيرة في سفر. So here we have this hadith was reported on the authority of Ibn Umar, and of course we know that because حدثني نافع, and Nafi' was the Mawla of Ibn Umar. So you see like one of the strongest asanid is Malik and Nafi' and Ibn Umar. These three in a chain. This is from the asanid al-Dhahabiyah. According to some of the ulama, it is the strongest isnad. It is the strongest. But you know, there's a different asanid based on the place, you know, because they have like the asanid of Yemen, the asanid of Sham, the asanid of Misr. So each area has like their asanid of the Dhahabiyah and their strongest asanid. So it's according to, and then you just have like the strongest asanid outright. So you have the stronger asanid going back to Abi Hurairah, you have the stronger asanid going back to Ibn Umar, and so on and so forth. So this is one of those, what they call, this is not this one, but I'm saying, and Malik and Nafi' and Ibn Umar, this is generally what you see is from the asanid of the Dhahabiyah, although that is not the case here. This is not reported by Malik. Alright, but it is حدثني نافع قال أذن ابن عمر. So Ibn Umar, he called the adhan في ليلة باردة بضجنان. So he called the adhan in a very, very cold night in a place that's called Dajnan. And here it says Dajnan huwa mawdi' أو جبل بين مكة والمدينة. So it's a location, or it's a mountain. Not sure, according to the mu'allaq. He said it's a mountain or a place between Mecca and Medina. It's called Dajnan. Alright, so he said ثم قال صلوا في رحالكم. And then he said صلوا في رحالكم as part of the adhan when he was calling the adhan, and he said صلوا في رحالكم. صلوا في رحالكم. Alright, you can say it once, say it twice, and this to inform the people because of the extreme weather to pray in their homes. فأخبرنا أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. So then he informed us that the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم كان يأمر مؤذنا يؤذنه, and that he ordered the mu'adhan to call this in the adhan. To call the adhan. ثم يقول على إثره, and then to say with it, as soon as you finish, ألا صلوا في الرحال. And he said, and then tell the people to what? صلوا في الرحال. Alright, في ليلة باردة أو المطيرة في سفر. Alright, to do this on a night that's cold, or a night that's raining, and during travel. This happened during travel, but this is not specific for travel. It's any time that it's going to become a difficulty for the people to come out of their houses and make it to the salat. Like I said, it could be extreme cold, ice, whatever, rain, tornado warnings, anything, because obviously if there's a tornado warning, you don't want the people driving around because they could get caught in the tornado. So you say sallu fi rihalikum. Now you have two options where you can say this. You can say this in the middle of the adhan, Alright, hayya ala salah, hayya ala salah, hayya ala al-falah, hayya ala al-falah. Sallu fi rihalikum, sallu fi rihalikum, and then say Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah. Or you can complete the adhan after you say, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah, sallu fi rihalikum, sallu fi rihalikum, and you announce that to the people so that they're informed. If the person wants to come out and pray in the masjid, that's his choice. He does that by his choice, but you inform the people that, that they can pray at home. Now, obviously, some people have to pray in the masjid because the jama'ah still has to be established. And generally, you'll have people that were in the masjid before the extreme weather started, and they will be the ones that are calling the adhan. So generally, like I said, this is not, as much as I've seen as this type of weather in America, I have not heard this. Like I said, this is my experience. You might have a different experience and you say, no, in my community we do this. Okay, jazakumullah khair if you do. I've only heard this in Yemen. I've heard it maybe once or twice in Sardinia at the most. So I'm not sure. You got to keep in mind too, in Sardinia, especially in Riyadh, the weather doesn't really get really extreme. And they used to have like major rain, but I guess due to the sins of the people, I got to Riyadh at the end of 2015, obviously because we stayed in Yemen during the war, and the war just kept going and going and going and going. So me and my family said, okay, let's leave. Because we had no money, there was no work, there's no way to get money. Even if people wanted to send us money, because everything was blocked off. There was a blockade on Yemen. So we were just having so many difficulties. So alhamdulillah, at that time we were still able to get money, but it's just like, we couldn't get in contact with anybody because there's no internet. There's internet and internet shops, but you had to go out. There's a war going on. Yemen and the Houthis have checkpoints everywhere. So it just got too difficult. So we went to Saudi Arabia. When we got to Saudi Arabia is at the end of 2015. And before that, I used to read how much rain they used to get, how much rain. But as soon as that war started in Yemen, and I don't know what sends the people. Obviously, the people, they're getting further and further away from the Sunnah and Sardinia. You see that amongst the common people, where they're getting further and further away from the Sunnah. The more and the more the ulama that are dying out, the people are not replacing them. And then the people now, you see them celebrating Halloween, celebrating all these different holidays of the kuffar. Now, this is not the majority of the people in Sardinia, but it is a portion of the people. And due to these sins, it just really stopped raining. Like, it really, really stopped raining. So from like the rain season of 2016, because we got there in 2015, so it kind of rained that year. It rained that year. Because I remember we had to go and help a family get out of the car because the rain was so high that it went up to the windows of the people's car. But from the next year, all the way up until when we left Saudi Arabia, we had to pray Salatul Istisqa every single year. So we didn't really have any major rain, except for that one time. So I'm not sure if they did call it before in Sardinia. So they might have, but maybe I just didn't hear it because, again, we didn't. There was no major, other than that one time. Like I said, we had to help the family get out of that car because they were trapped in water with it was a man and his wife, and they had a child in the car, and the car was filling up full of water. Other than that one time, there was no major type of weather like that. So, because like I said, it goes back to the sins of the people. You commit these sins, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes the barakah from you. So Allahumma musta'an. So they might do it, but like I said, there was never anything that might have warranted that type of adhan, because by the time that I left Riyadh at the end of 2020, and I went to Jubail, which is in the east coast of Sardinia, and Jubail never rains. If it rains in Jubail, you buy pizza and have a party. But in Riyadh, we had to pray istisqa sometimes 3 or 4 times a year. 3 or 4 times a year. That's just how much the sins of the people, Allahumma musta'an. So you think that these sins don't catch up, but they do. And we watched the same thing happen in Yemen. And when I first got to SUNNAH in Yemen, it used to rain so much that the streets would just be flooded. Like with the taxis, I'd be in a taxi trying to get home, and the water, like I could just reach out and touch the water from the window. That's how much it used to rain in SUNNAH. And then it just went through these periods of just complete, nothing, no rain, no rain whatsoever. Like in the summertime, I don't know how many times I used to have to buy new shoes because my shoes would just get destroyed in the rain. So, but they always called, like if there was any type of severe rain, they would call this in the adhan in Yemen all the time. Amongst the Shia, I'm not so sure, because you hear so many different adhans. Obviously, you're in a Muslim country, so you don't know who's who. Except for obviously the Shia, they call the Zaydiyah. They add to the adhan Hayya ala khayr al-amal. So because once you hear that, you know that this is coming from a Shia masjid. So Allah musta'an. But like I said, in America, I don't remember ever hearing this. Like I said, if it's done, maybe. So, but this is something that we do need to practice and do need to inform the people. Like, okay, if you are going to, I mean, if right now we do it because it's a sunnah, because a lot of the things now we don't have these types of neighborhoods where where the Muslims are living in, and this is what we should be working towards. Each city should have like this I guess you could say like conclave of Muslims where the masjid is the center and all the apartments and the houses around the masjid are owned and controlled by Muslims. And in that way we could call the adhan, there's not going to be anybody complaining, and in that way the people can be informed. If there's severe weather, because like right now you see like a lot of these Islamic centers, the majority of the people that go to the masjid, they don't live around the masjid. So if you call this type of adhan in the masjid, it won't benefit them because they're not even there. They're coming to the masjid. They're not going to hear the adhan anyways because the adhan is called inside the masjid. So maybe that's the reason why a lot of the people have left it off, because of the lack of, maybe they see that there's no benefit for it. But we should be working towards like setting up our neighborhoods where the masjid is the epicenter of the neighborhood. You see all these other groups of people, they've done the same thing. The Indians, they do this. The Chinese have done this. The Koreans have done this. The Chinese and the Koreans more than anybody else. But even if you go to Los Angeles, the Mexicans have done it, and everybody's worked and they set up shops. But the epicenter of their community was their shops, and they live near their shops, and then they bring, the other family, and then they open up more shops, and then they bring people to live around the shops until the whole neighborhood becomes the people. But us, the epicenter of our communities will never be the shops. It's going to be the masajid. So we're going to focus on the masjid being the epicenter, and we're setting up our communities so we can practice these types of sunnahs and we don't have to abandon them. And we can inform the people, look, there's a, severe weather. Sallu fi rihalikum. Wallahu musta'an. Wa ila huna. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.